Okay, hello everyone, and warm welcome to the fifth UNCCD Land Heroes live webinar. Thank you for finding the time for joining us today in today's webinar. Before starting, I would like to ask the audience to feel free to leave any comments and questions as we will be answering them during the live session. My name is Radwan. I'm the CEO and co-founder of GBTIL, a startup aiming to help farmers adapt to the impacts of climate change. I'm also an SDGs young leader endorsed by the UN Youth Envoy. Today, I have the honor to introduce our speakers, Mulindwa Moses, the founder of Believe and leader of the 2 Trees a Week initiative, who has recently launched a COVID-19 emergency food fund targeting to benefit 400 families with nutritious food, with most especially those affected by the floods and locusts. We also have Vanessa, the founder of Rise Up Movement and the institutional stove the founder of Rise Up Movement and 1 Million Activist Stories, which implements solar energy and clean the institutional stoves in schools. Lastly, Nora Nyang from the UNCCD Regional Liaison Office for Africa, who I'd love to invite her for her opening remark. Welcome, Nora. The floor is yours.
Thank you. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you may be joining us. It's a real pleasure to be here with you today. Firstly, I'd like to say thank you to you, the moderator, Loay, Radwan, and to our UNCCD Land Heroes, Mulindwa, and Vanessa, if she manages to join us. Thank you so much for accepting the call to be part of this webinar. And what a fitting day, truly, to have this discussion, having recently marked the World Food Day on October the 16th, as well as the International Day for Eradication of Poverty, which was celebrated on October the 17th. So what is the link really between land and food, or even land and poverty? Well, we know that land is central for ensuring that we have enough food to eat. Land, which covers about a third of the earth, provides food for about 99% of our food and calorie needs that feed our families. Land is also an essential safety net for rural populations, particularly the rural poor, who use this during times of instability. However, almost 25% of our lands globally are degraded, and which impacts the livelihoods of millions of people around the world. And with the COVID-19 that has recently hit us, this has pushed millions more into hunger, into poverty, and the importance of land cannot be even more apparent than it is now. So what can we do? We have a role to play to coexist with the environment. Our every actions, whether big or small, has a potential to impact the environment and to impact the lives of people and our communities. We as youth around the world, youth in Africa, can lead these efforts. So Africa is an extremely young continent. They say about 65% of our population in Africa is actually under the age of 35. This youthful demographic is a rich tool. It presents a powerful opportunity to accelerate innovations and actions that help to tackle both hunger and poverty, as well as other issues affecting us, including climate change, among other challenges. The youth are no longer the future leaders and change makers. We're leading change from the front. All this is demonstrated by our land heroes who are going to speak here with us today. But before I hand over to the moderator and to our land heroes, I'd like to touch on what UNCCD is doing just a little bit. UNCCD is currently doing its work on land degradation neutrality, which involves restoring, reversing, and reducing degradation of land that helps to improve food production, to combat poverty, while addressing challenges such as climate change and even biodiversity loss. The NCCD is involved in various initiatives across the continent and across the world to promote these restoration efforts. One of them that I'll highlight is called the 3S Initiative, the Initiative on Sustainability, Stability, and Security, which is an African-led initiative helping people to transform the narrative and unlock the potential of Africa. The initiative is aimed to create green jobs, particularly for the youth, for migrants, for displaced populations, through investments in restoration of land and through sustainable management of land. This initiative is just one example of actions among other big and small that are being pioneered by individuals, by organizations, by communities around the world to improve their lives and the livelihoods of the communities around. Which brings us to the reason why we are here today. As we belatedly mark the World Food Day and the International Day for Eradication of Poverty, we're privileged to have the opportunity to listen to our land heroes who have taken on this baton to make a change and make a difference. As we listen and engage today, I welcome us all for us to take this as a challenge, that we too can make a difference and can make a difference. Welcome to our land heroes. Thank you. Over to you, Loay.
Thank you so much, Nora. And thank you for having me. I couldn't agree with you more. And I would like to congratulate the World Food Program for the well-deserved Nobel Prize that they just won. Now, I'm leaving the floor for the Mulindwa Moses, the founder of I Believe, which create climate resilient societies and empower youth in Uganda. He's also the leader of the 2 Trees a Week initiative, aiming to regrow forests and combat deforestation, based by changing the climate patterns. Recently, he launched the COVID-19 Emergency Food Fund, targeting to benefit 400 families with nutritious food, most especially those affected by flood and locusts. Murinda, the floor is yours.
Thank you much. Thank you very much. And hello to everyone, wherever you are watching from. I would like to first of all, thank UNCCD for having me here. And just a little bit about myself. I'm Mulindwa Moses from Uganda. I'm a climate activist and a co-founder of Believe, and the leader of 2 Trees a Week initiative. Basically, what Believe does is it creates climate resilient societies. It fights for environment, fights for nature. It does environmental protection and empowers youth in different disciplines or aspects of life. So when we talk about food insecurity and hunger in Africa, there are so many causes of food insecurity and hunger in Africa. But the biggest, I think what I would say that the best out of those things is that they're intertwined. So basically, if you can solve the big ones, you can solve everything. And this causes the poverty, unstable markets, climate change, lack of sustainable investment in agriculture. If we can actually address the problems the way they are, if we can, because most of the problems that we do have, like if we talk about climate change, that is actually like the birth of most of them are poverty, conflicts. If we talk about like poverty, of course, the droughts that we've been seeing in Uganda, in the Sahel region, all those are the impacts of climate change, and they have led to poverty by destroying the crops and everything that provides livelihood to the people in those communities. So if we can address the problem of climate change, I believe some problems will be eliminated instantly. This is partially conflicts will also be eliminated because if you see in the Sahel region, the conflict cause largely is due to these people are fighting because of resources. And when we talk, for instance, Lake Chad, it has literally dried out, like it's no longer there. If I'm speaking the literal language, and most people are fighting because of water, maybe the little land that can be fertile for their crop growing and agriculture. So basically, if we can tackle the major problems, we can eliminate the small problems, and we'll be able to have a sustainable solutions for these problems and maybe attain the second goal of SDGs, zero hunger by 2030. So what?
Okay, let's speak about my work that I'm doing here in Egypt. As I mentioned, I'm an environmental activist and an environmental engineer. I was recently selected as one of the SDGs Young Leader for Youth, one of the SDGs Young Leader by the Youth Envoy. And I'm currently working on a new project called G-Beetle. In G-Beetle, we're helping farmers adapt with the aftermath of climate change through using technology like sensors, machine learning algorithms. We're helping farmers adapt to the impacts of climate change through using technology like sensors, machine learning algorithms. So basically, there's a rover that goes around the fields, it collects data about the soil and the plants, and then this data is sent back to the our database where it's combined with the weather forecast and the climate change effects, predicted effects. And then we send the farmers the exact recommendations on how he can rationalize his water consumption, protect his crops from any type of infestation. So basically, we help him to detect any type of infestation at an early stage to protect his crops and achieve food securities and adapt to the effects of climate change. Okay, while we're waiting, you work with the UNCCD. Can you tell us how you can youth can help you in achieving your mission, the UNCCD? How can youth be a part of this?
Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, youth are the foundation. I think increasingly we are seeing, for example, here in Africa, that we have a great dividend in terms of the number of youth who are coming up over the next few years. Youth will be more than the rest of the population. Therefore, if we do not invest in our youth for them to be able to start up jobs, for them to be able to create employment and be able to invest in land, then we've lost an opportunity. And I think that's where our focus is. But I think Mulindwa is back. I will allow him to finalize his remarks. Yeah, over to you.
Mulindwa, can you please continue with your work?
All right, thank you. I'm sorry about the technical challenges that I've caused.
No,
I was talking about how we can address the big problems to eliminate the small problems, because these problems are intertwined and we can easily eliminate them and attain the second goal of SDGs, attain zero hunger societies by 2030. So personally, and as the team that I've put on ground, what we are doing is because one of the major problem is climate change, the environmental challenges that are basically causing the poverty, the conflicts, the poor investments in agriculture. So we are addressing climate change as the major problem, so that it can help us eliminate the other challenges. And what we are doing is that we are planting trees and encouraging farmers to have a sustainable farming. Majorly, we are teaching them to do agroforestry because it helps, it's environmental friendly, and it helps them reap a lot out of the harvest, and everything that they do plant, they do get a lot from the harvest. And the other thing is that we come up with solutions that are environmental friendly. If we are telling people not to reclaim swamps, what are we doing as what solution are you providing? So basically we are telling them to do fish farming, something that is environmental friendly. So we are creating employment opportunities for everyone in our communities, and coming up with things that are with solutions that are environmental friendly. And that will help us. Of course, there is a study that says that when people are eliminated from poverty, they will tend to care about the environment more. And if people care about the environment more and nature more, they will be able to produce more. They'll have more productivity from the land, because the most challenge that we are facing right now is deforestation that has led to soil erosion, that has led to desertification in areas. And if we can combat desertification and stop deforestation at this rate that we are carrying it on, I think we can attain the zero hunger by 2030.
Thank you, Mulindwa. I couldn't agree more with you that food security is a really important issue that the whole world needs to cooperate to achieve it. Because without food security, like our lives depend on it, our environment depends on it, everything depends on it. So it's a really important issue. We just received that Vanessa has joined us. Vanessa. Okay. So before moving into another journey and another land hero, I want to remind our audience to leaving their comments and questions, and we would love hearing from all of them. Now allow me to introduce our second land hero, Vanessa Nakate, the founder of Rise Up Movement and 1 Million Activist Stories. Her main project is in the implementation of the solar energy systems and clean institutional stoves in schools. This helps reduce the amount of firewood that is used in schools in terms of in a term, and also reduces the emissions from the preparation of food. They also ensure clean cooking for the students and protect the chefs from the emissions as they prepare the food. This project also enables a learning experience for students, their parents, and the teachers about the importance of the importance of protecting our planet and the importance of transition to renewable energy. Welcome, Vanessa. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be speaking to all of you, and I'm sorry for the delay. I apologize for that. Well, my name is Vanessa Nakate, and I'm a climate activist from Uganda. And basically, last year when I started activism, along the way, I wanted to do more than going to the streets and holding a placard. I wanted to start doing practical things, practical solutions for the people in my country. So I started the project of installing solar panels and eco-friendly stoves in schools. And as you have explained, this project was to help reduce on the amount of firewood that the schools use in a term, and also to help them transition to renewable energy, because you realize that we talk so much about renewable energy, but not everyone can afford it, not everyone can access it, especially the people in rural communities. So this became a very, very personal project to me, because I wanted to see that this transition happens, and also the trees are protected, the trees are saved from being cut down. So specifically when I chose solar, I was also specific about the schools where the installations were going to take place. And those are schools mainly in rural communities, schools that do not have electricity at all. In our previous installation, one of the schools that we worked on, it started in 1935, but it had never had electricity for all these years, and they recently got it through the project in 2020. So when I started this project, I wanted it specifically for those schools that do not have access to electricity at all, to help them and to also help the students. Education quality cannot be very good if a school does not have access to electricity. And also, it came in as a form of a learning process for the students, for their teachers, for their parents, and for the surrounding communities, because everyone is always curious to know why we have done the installations, why we have brought the solar, why we have brought the stoves. And this is an opportunity for us to teach them about the climate, about the planet, about their role in ensuring that we have a sustainable future. So it goes from being a project that moves towards sustainability of communities, but it also comes in as a project that helps educate people about climate issues. If people do not know that they are in a burning house, they will not try to run out of that house to try and save themselves. So through this project, people understand that our planet is in a mess, that our planet is on fire, and they understand what they can do to help us, solve this crisis, to help us put an end to all these challenges, to all these disasters. And I hope that my vision is to cover 20,000 schools in my country, and I hope that can happen one day. But basically, yeah, that is the project, and that's what we've been doing. And so far, we've done installations in 6 schools. Yeah.
Wow. Great, Vanessa. Thank you. In a couple of minutes, we will be taking our audience's question, but let me first ask you, Vanessa, you launched the 1 million activist stories. What is it, and how can this platform contribute to improving the livelihood of the communities all around the world? Can this be a powerful tool to address and reverse climate change?
Well, with the 1 million activist stories, I started it to tell different stories of different activists from different parts of the world, because I understand the struggle of trying to be heard, the struggle of trying to get your voice out there, because I've been in that place of trying to put my story out there, trying to communicate what is happening in my country, what is happening in my community. So with this platform, it's more of like a blog, but also with social media accounts, and we share various stories of different activists who are doing amazing work in their homes, because I believe every activist should be given a platform to provide the solutions that they want to provide. If we do not give activist platforms, then it will be hard for them to get the solution that they are looking for in their communities. I believe every activist has a story to tell. So this platform is there to tell that story. And every story has a solution to give. So this platform is there to give an opportunity to the different activists to give their solutions to what the kind of world that they want to see. And these solutions, they have a life to change. So this platform is an opportunity for different people to save different lives. Our latest blog is about two feminists. One is 19, the other one is 21, and they started their activism um this month, no, last month in September. And basically they were highlighting the violence, gender-based violence in this period, because they've been seeing it on television, they've been hearing it on radios, how women and girls have been so affected during this pandemic. So this is what this platform hopes to do. And yeah, we hope we can cover as many stories as possible, literally a million stories. Yeah.
Wonderful, Vanessa. You're really such an inspiration. Like, really. Okay.
Thank you so
So,
much.
Mulindwa, did COVID-19 affect your activities and the people in Uganda? How did it affect it? How did you adapt to these effects?
Yeah, before COVID-19, okay, when I started climate activism way back in 2018, September, I was holding plastic cards. I was also inspired by Vanessa, by the way, thank you. I was holding plastic cards alongside the roads, and I decided to take it a little bit further from holding plastic cards and creating awareness. I started doing practical things on the ground. I started engaging communities in planting trees, going to schools and talk to them about climate change. And that's when I started an initiative called 2 Trees a Week. And with 2 Trees a Week, we had planted over 15,000 trees by the end of last year, by December 27th, I think. Yeah, December 27th. And we were planning to plant more than 100,000 trees by the end of this year. But when COVID came and we couldn't continue with our normal schedules, we had to be in quarantine. It's hard to get other members, other people to join you and do the work as a community collectively. So we are not attaining our goals, and we are not doing that much of an impact on the ground right now because we can't travel in large numbers. We can't do something in large numbers as a community, because before we used to engage communities over 30, 40 people to plant trees, but now you can't do that. It would be actually cost effective. It's not cost effective because if you're going to do that, then that means you have to get them masks, you have to buy the sanitizers, you have to all the SOPs, and something that is challenging to do right now. So we put a hold on planting trees and other activities like teaching communities sustainable solutions. If you're saying that we shouldn't do deforestation, what should we do? Because some people, actually, we are living in communities where there is alarming poverty, and they do bring compelling arguments. They will be like, they will tell you how they are earning a living from that. And sometimes you can't, you have to acknowledge their issues and know where they're coming from, because they will tell you, this is where I get the money for my school fees for my children. This is where I get the money to feed my family. But then what solutions are you coming with if you're telling me not to do this? And we usually come up with solutions if it's sustainable, if it's clean energy, doing clean stoves, for clean energy stoves. Yeah, if they're telling you that we are banning this, we are cutting trees, deforestation because of charcoal, and that's where we're earning a living, and you provide a solution that is environmental friendly. If it's swamp reclamation, you do tell them that you can do actually fish farming that is environmental friendly, and it's going to provide employment to people and everything. So COVID-19 has not only put most of our activities on hold, it's actually taking us backwards, like the achievements that we had attained, the societies that we had started to move, the shift in the mindset that we had started putting and in young people, in our communities, and creating the awareness that we needed about the climate crisis is deteriorating. It's going backwards because these people are being hit by that. They are in a high situation. They don't have what to eat. That's why we came up with a COVID-19 emergency food fund. I came up with a COVID-19 emergency food fund where I'm supporting people that are being affected by increased landslides and floods in our country. So I've so far supported, initially when I started it, I wanted to support 400 families. So far I've supported 342 families with family members of 1,853, around that number. And but with the increase in the floods and landslides and the pandemic being here for quite a while, I think I'll be able, I'm forced to increase on the number of people, the number of families that I anticipated to help by then, because I thought COVID-19 would have gone by now, but it seems it's going to be there for long. And the floods, the climate crisis in our country is not stopping. That's the problem. The floods keep happening daily, day over day. You hear this area has been hit by floods. This area is being hit by landslides. So it's like the climate crisis is increasing, and the COVID is not letting people to move freely and maybe search for food and everything. So I'm trying to help them, the families that I'm hoping to provide with basic needs, food majorly, and see how these starving families can be living for a while before the world maybe gets the normal. So COVID-19 has, if I may say, it has affected our activities largely, like it has a large negative impact on our activities that we've been doing as an initiative and as a person.
Thank you, Mulindwa. Now let's take our audience's questions, and we will start with Vanessa. how could you finance your project, and how did you manage to convince so many people to help you achieve this beautiful dream?
Well, thank you for that question. In the beginning, when I put out that project, I got an individual donor, I would say, who said that he would cover installations over 5 schools. So basically, those 5 schools were funded by one person who has been able to, he has been sending the funding after school installation for the next school. So right now, after we realized that his funding is almost coming to an end, I created a GoFundMe to help raise money for more schools, and basically now the project it's fully monitored and it's fully financed by the people on the internet.
Perfect. Thank you, Vanessa. And Mulindwa, we have a question for you. You're already doing a lot, giving food to all of these families. Are you also planning to give trainings to farmers or educating the youth on how to use the land more sustainably for long-term results?
Definitely, that's something that we've already embarked on. We are helping families to, we are providing sustainable solutions and sustainable, innovative solutions in agriculture. Just like I told you before, we are teaching these people agroforestry. I'm also an ambassador at 3 Trees a Week, and that's one thing that I've attained, like lessons about, and I'm teaching communities to indulge themselves in these sustainable agriculture activities, if it's agroforestry, if it's fish farming, because these activities are sustainable and they're environmental friendly. I'm not just giving them food and I leave. When I give them food, these people are everywhere I go, in every area that I've gone, we've left ambassadors, and our teams go back. If it's planting trees with those people in that area, they do plant trees with them. If it's teaching them better ways of farming, they do teach them better ways of farming, because most especially what happens is that when those people are hit by floods and landslides, they are shifted and taken to new areas. They're reaching those areas, they don't have what to eat. So what we do is that we teach them, we come up with have a team of people that have actually qualified in agriculture and have attained degrees in that area, in that sector. So they teach these people how to grow crops and plant crops sustainably, and not in a way that they have been used to. They give them better, innovative agriculture farming practices, I think. And that's something that has helped them because let me talk about the area that I was in previously. That was Kalsandara in Kasese region. It's in Western Uganda. And when I was there, we gave there were actually, I think there were 300 and something families. We will help them with food. And we had to come up with solutions for their area, because it's something that has been happening more often in their area. Floods have been happening more often in their area. And we had to engage them in tree planting as a community, because now they understand that the climate crisis is not just something that they just hear on radio stations, or that's if the radio stations or hear people talk about, but it does affect them. It affects children, women, their livelihoods. So that they took that initiative as a community. We planted trees. They told them sustainable agriculture practices that they can carry on, instead of doing normal agriculture activities that they have been doing. So we are teaching them, we are not only just giving them food, we are helping them with sustainable agriculture practices. We are teaching them sustainable agriculture practices.
Perfect. Perfect, Mulind. I have a question for the both of you. You both must be busy, so with these initiatives, is this your official job? Can you make a living out of it? So Mulindwa, you can go first.
No, this is not my official job. This is an activity, emergency COVID, an activity that I'm just doing as something that gives me high pleasure as a person. I'm more fascinated by doing humanitarian work. That's why I started the initiative, the Believer Initiative, which is being registered as an organization, but it's an initiative right now. But I have a job that I'm doing. I'm working with a 3D pursuit company. I've been working with NFA on different projects, National Forestry Authority on different, it's an organization in our country, a government organization in our country. So I have jobs personally. I'm a human resource officer working with 3D pursuit company, and I'm doing some projects with National Forestry Authority. So I have different jobs aside from the activities, that humanitarian work that I'm doing. The humanitarian work that I'm doing is something that I'm passionate about.
Perfect. And Vanessa?
No, it's not a job.
Okay, so how do you manage to like manage your time with your initiatives and your job and
Well,
your whole life?
I remember like before the lockdown, I used to work like part-time. I used to work part-time, so the other time would be mainly for activism. But when the pandemic started, I stopped working, so I haven't been able to go back to work up to now. Yeah, so now I'm
Okay,
mainly focusing on the projects and the activism.
perfect. Thank you both
Yeah.
so much. Okay, to wrap that up, I have a question to both of you, to both of our land heroes. How can the audience worldwide join or contribute to your initiatives? If they are in Uganda, how can they physically help you install stoves or carry food to families? So, Vanessa, you can start.
Well, if they are in Uganda, I don't know, because it doesn't involve like carrying the solar, since I source out the work to suppliers. So they're the ones who do the constructions of the stoves. They're the ones who do the transportation of the solar to the schools until the installations are done. So basically, what I would say, the best way that you can help is by either donating towards the project or sharing the link to the GoFundMe. I think that is the best way that you can help out the project.
Great.
Thank you.
And Mulindwa.
What we're doing, if you're in Uganda, definitely we would love to connect with you and travel with you and go to these different places and see what's happening. And maybe you can help us in creating awareness about the climate crisis that is happening in our country and other areas everywhere across the world. But if you're not in Uganda, and actually if you're also in Uganda and you are willing, we have there is a GoFundMe campaign that is on my social media platforms. You can donate and you can share. Another thing that you can do, we are, as Believe, now I'm not talking as Mulindwa, I'm talking as Believe, as the initiative. We want to engage so many activists, even if you're not an activist and you're passionate about nature, in taking all the, you can check on our website, there is a website, you can, on taking all the activities and achieve our goals and the objectives that we have set. So if you can be part of them, that would be amazing.
Thank you, Mulindwa. Okay, so in 1 minute, for the both of you, do you have tips on how to mobilize efficiently the young generations? What still needs to be implemented to increase the reach and raise awareness on a larger scale? So, Mulindwa, you can start.
Okay, thank you so much. One of the ways that we can reach out the young people is through social media. Young people are more interested in things that they read on the internet, and another thing is going to schools, finding them in schools, their study areas. When I started, I was going to schools and talking to students about climate change, and I was reaching a large number before. That's why I told you that COVID-19 has hugely impacted me in a negative way, where right now I can't go to schools, I can't talk to students. But before I was talking to students in schools, I had actually covered 60 schools, over 10,000 students. So going to schools, we have to engage schools in creating awareness. And another thing, engage, talk about the climate crisis, talk about nature on the internet, engage young people to talk about it on the internet, and also going out there in communities and getting our news outlets to report about these disasters, the catastrophes that we are encountering as humanity.
Yeah, thank you. I couldn't agree with you more. Like social media have a huge power, especially on
Yeah.
the young generations. So Vanessa,
Thank
you
you.
have anything to add? You have the floor for a minute.
Yeah, basically, just to add to what has been said, maybe I'll speak from my own personal perspective and my own story, how I managed to mobilize different people and to get the young people to demand for action and to be involved in the planetary issues was by first of all using social media, because that was the very first platform I used to create awareness, social media. And then we also started going in communities where we would do activities like cleanups. This was also another way of getting other people, young people to join, and also the people in those communities to understand why we were doing this, because I believe that not every community should be approached with the 1.5 degrees Celsius science. Not everyone understands that. So we would go in the form of cleaning, and in that way, we would talk to them about the climate, about the planet, and what they need to do. And the other thing was going in schools and also university to do the same thing, to speak to the students in the schools, to speak to the students in the schools, to speak to those in universities about the work that we are doing. So most of the work has been going to communities, going to schools, and also using social media as a tool to push the message. You understand, even in
Yeah,
this
yeah.
pandemic, social media has helped a lot.
Social media, yes,
Yeah.
it's a huge power. Thank you to our heroes, and it's always great hearing about your journey of other youth all over the world and how they are trying to have their voices and do change. Now, I have to say that our webinar is coming to an end, and let's hear again from Nora and have a quick recap of this session, and of course, hear her closing remarks. Nora, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. And thank you to our land heroes for such an inspiring discussion and responses to your questions. Just it's a testament to the efforts that you're actually making. Just maybe to capture a few things that you've said that have stood out for me. The intertwined nature of food security, hunger and poverty, and the need to actually deal with them as a jointly, and dealing with one would actually be able to contribute to dealing with food security would contribute to hunger, reducing hunger, and would also reduce poverty. As Loay mentioned, that using technology to assist farmers to adapt to climate change, and this has helped to actually improve their food security and help to alleviate poverty in the areas. And as Vanessa also mentioned, the importance of access to energy to improve the lives and the livelihoods of local communities. While you've all mentioned raising awareness to the local communities for them to be able to be more aware of issues to do with climate change, how to manage their environment more sustainably. But most importantly, I think as youth, harnessing technology, media, and innovations to be able to tell our stories and to be able to pull together solutions and funding to make a difference. This was quite an inspiring discussion, and they've reminded me actually of a saying by one of my heroes, Wangari Maathai, who's a Nobel laureate who tirelessly worked and championed issues on the environment. She said that it's the little things that citizens do that's what will make a difference. Today happens to be Mashujaa Day in Kenya, which means the day to celebrate heroes. And what a fitting day to celebrate Wangari Maathai and to also celebrate you, our land heroes, on this day and our land heroes who are across the world. You've all reminded us that we need to adapt to new change and to existing challenges facing our planet, facing our people, such as poverty and hunger, among other challenges like climate change. But most of all, that you've told us that it's within our power to make a difference and that there is a hero within each of us. So I encourage everybody on the platform who's listening to take up the challenge and be part of a change. Truly, truly, it's the little things that we do that will make a difference. And as I close, I'd like to welcome you all to a webinar, another webinar that's going to be organized by the UNCCD and on youth-led jobs and entrepreneurship employment. This will be a series that will start here in Africa, as in the first one will be held for Africa and then subsequently other regions around the world. Look out for the announcements on our social media platforms, and we look forward to seeing you and engaging with you there. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Nora, and thanks to Mulindwa and Vanessa. And special thanks to all our audience for being part of our webinars and our journey. And for that, I would like to remind you again that with our sixth and last webinar on the 27th of October, with 2 land heroes in Africa using art as a tool to connect humans with nature. Join us next week with more African land heroes, art and nature. See you and have a great day. Goodbye.
Okay.
Bye.